The previous lecture ended with the constitutional issues faced by Pakistan. They are continued in this lecture in detail, and the Constitution of 1956 is studied. The constitutional issues include: as Pakistan consisted of two parts, division of power or federalism was the most difficult part between two wings and among the provinces. Representation issue raised as East Pakistan and West Pakistan were different in population and size, and thus appropriate representation was an issue. Separate or joint electorate issue was raised as East Pakistan decided for joint electorate, whereas West Pakistan decided for separate electorate. In 1948, Jinnah declared that Urdu would be the national language. Opposition against Urdu was in East Pakistan, causing the national language issue. Two-language formula was adopted in 1954. There was a consensus for parliamentary system as there was limited demand for presidential system. Islamic or secular state. From the very beginning, there was an agreement that the state will have close relationship with Islam. Basic Principle Committee. Considering these issues, the Basic Principle Committee was set up on March 12, 1949 by Khwaja Nazimuddin on the advice of Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan. The committee presented its interim report on the Legislative Assembly in 1950. This was a short document presenting the guidelines and principles of the future Constitution of Pakistan. Representatives of East Pakistan raised objections against the report. The main criticism was against the quantum representation in the central legislature. East Pakistan representatives also did not like Urdu being declared as the only national language of Pakistan. Muhammad Ali Bogra Formula. Prime Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra's constitutional proposal, known as the Bogra Formula, was presented before the Constituent Assembly of Pakistan on October 7, 1953. 50 seats were reserved for the upper house. The 300 seats for the lower house were to be allocated to the provinces based on proportionate representation. 165 seats were reserved for East Pakistan, 75 for Punjab, 19 for Sindh and Khairpur, 24 for NWFP, tribal areas and the states located in NWFP, and 17 for Balochistan. In this way, East Pakistan was given more seats in the lower house. Reaction to Bogra Formula. Unlike the two reports of the Basic Principle Committee, the Bogra Formula was appreciated by different sections of the society. However, before the Constitution could be finalized, Ghulam Muhammad, who was the Governor General of Pakistan, dissolved the Assembly. One Unit Scheme, October 1955. The One Unit was a geopolitical program launched by the government of Pakistan, led by then Prime Minister Muhammad Ali Bogra, on 22 November 1954. The program was believed to be enacted after the government faced difficulty of administrating the two unequal wings of Pakistan, separated from each other by more than 1,000 miles. To diminish the differences between the two East and West regions, the program merged the four provinces of West Pakistan into a single province, as was the case with East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Constitution of 1956. Chaudhry Muhammad Ali started the constitutional process in Pakistan when he became Prime Minister. Islamic provisions of the Constitution of 1956 are: Parliamentary system says that the President had ceremonial functions and exercised limited powers. Prime Minister would be appointed by President and was the head of government assisted by Cabinet. Unicameral legislature means National Assembly was the only house of the Parliament having a membership of 300 plus 10 women seats. Federal system means the Constitution provided three lists: federal, provincial, and concurrent. There were two provinces in the Federation of Pakistan. Provincial structure means that at the provincial level there was elected assembly. The real powers were given to the chief ministers and his cabinet. Independent judiciary was another main feature of the Constitution. At center, the highest court was Supreme Court, then High Court in provinces and subordinate courts were established. Fundamental rights, including civil and political rights, were given to the people of Pakistan, but they could be suspended in case of emergency. Directive principles of state policy provided the guidelines for policy making. Islamic Charter includes: the name of the country was the Islamic Republic of Pakistan. No law can be made to violate Islamic principles and teachings. And riba, interest, will be eliminated from the country as soon as possible. Dissolution of 1956 Constitution. The Constitution of 1956 was implemented in Pakistan only for 2 years and 7 months. General Ayub Khan dismissed the government. He imposed the first martial law in the country on 7th October 1958.